Hi, Mateus. Can you hear me? Hi, Mateus. Good afternoon. Oh, good to see you here. All right. So, how was your weekend, Mateus? Yeah, was it good? All right, great. So, Mateus, this is our page on Google Classroom, okay? And we posted here the topics for this week. So for today, we are going to do Unit 10, pages 78 and 79. And we are going to read something about Singapore. Have you ever heard of Singapore before? No? Where is Singapore? Do you have any idea? So let me show you the map. All right. So can you see the map here? Okay, good. So can you find Singapore in the map? On the map, sorry. Can you find Singapore on the map? Okay, so here it is. Very nice. So it's pretty close to Malaysia, right? It's to the south here. Okay, so look, it is really small. Yes, it is a small country. As you can see here, it's very small. Okay. So why is Singapore so rich? Why do you think so? Why do you think Singapore is so rich? Let's see. So we were talking in the beginning about Singapore, and it's right in the middle between the east, okay, and the west. And it's like a connecting point because if you go, like, for example, suppose you take a ship from Japan, so you navigate here. If you want to cross to the other side, to the west, you have to go through Singapore, or you can go through the other Indonesian islands here, right? You can go, because otherwise you will have to go all the way down to cross to the west. So usually when people used to travel by ship and all the commerce, all sales happened by ship, so they navigated a lot. They used to take this route here, go from here, okay, down here, and then they would go around Singapore and come out here, okay? So that's the way or the route they took, okay? Some ships might have done this way here. They might have come really to the south of Indonesia and then, but this is the shortest way, okay? So Singapore was actually a kind of obligation to everybody coming from the east and going west. And that made Singapore from the past until today a very important point, a very important country. And it's really small, right? So why is it so rich? I will try to show you this video. I don't know if I'll be able to. I've been trying to open it up, but the connection today is really bad. Here too, my connection is horrible, but I'll try to show you. If it doesn't work, I posted the link for you on Google Classroom, okay? You can always see it there, okay? So let's see if we can see that. My connection is very bad too. Yeah. Yeah, apparently it's not working. So it's a pity because we would see some information about Singapore. Let's see.
Just an hour. Despite its size and lack of natural resources, Singapore's 5.6 million people enjoy one of the highest average incomes in the world. ahead of countries like Germany, France, and Japan. So, how did this little island get so rich?
Just a second, I'm trying to change the quality of the video because it's very bad. Okay.
Singapore doesn't have resources like coal or oil, but it does have something countries can't buy: location. The island sits in the middle of an important trade route, connecting Asia to Europe. That's a key reason why the British decided, back in 1819, to set up a colony in Singapore. Location isn't everything, though. There are several countries nearby that could have made use of their whereabouts, but they weren't quite as successful. That's because there are other ingredients that go into this crazy rich Singapore recipe. I'm at the Raffles Hotel, which is one of the most prominent icons of Singapore's colonial history. Unlike some of its neighbors, which wanted to separate themselves from their colonial histories, Singapore kept close ties with Britain, even after independence in 1965. That decision announced to the rest of the world that Singapore was open for business. That's important because we know now that exports help to grow and expand an economy. But back then, it wasn't conventional wisdom. Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and South Korea became known as the four Asian tigers, which have grown rapidly since the 1960s. Their rise was fueled by exports, industrialization, and more crucially, big doses of government intervention. This was especially true for Singapore. Labor strikes were common on the island in the 1960s, even with high unemployment. On top of that, there was a housing crisis, with Singapore being home to one of the largest slum settlements in the world. So how do you build a more disciplined labor force to attract investment? Well, you give them something to work for, like a house of their own, which is why one of the first Singapore government agencies set up was focused on building affordable public housing. While just 9% of the population lived in public housing in the 1960s, that figure stands at more than 80% today. Add in greater employer rights, and strikes became extremely rare. At the same time, the government attracted foreign investment through tax incentives, growing the economy and easing unemployment, which fell from an estimated 14% in 1959 to 4.5% in the 1970s. By the 1980s, Singapore was a regional manufacturing hub, and it was the world's biggest producer of hard disk drives. But today, manufacturing makes up only about 20% of Singapore's GDP. Take a look at Singapore's growth in GDP. You can see two big surges, one beginning in the late 80s and another at the start of the new millennium. Ironically, Singapore has a downturn to thank for that. You see, in 1985, Singapore went into its first post-independence recession, prompting the government to introduce new measures. State-owned companies like telecommunications were privatized to make them more competitive. Then, at the turn of the century, service industries like finance and insurance were further liberalized. That openness helped to grow the share of services from just 24% of GDP in 1985 to more than 70% in 2017. Multinational companies began to set up regional headquarters in Singapore. That attracted even bigger players, boosting Singapore's attractiveness to corporates and in turn its GDP. Now, Singapore is ranked as one of the world's easiest places to do business. Singapore has been praised for transforming itself from a developing to developed economy. But do most Singaporeans feel rich? Well, not exactly. Two of the most important reasons: the high cost of living and inequality. For 5 years in a row, Singapore has been named the world's most expensive city, ahead of New York and London. That's largely because of taxes on cars, making Singapore the most expensive place in the world to buy and run an automobile. It's also the third most expensive place on earth to buy clothes. But personal care, household goods, and domestic help in Singapore tend to be less expensive than in other major cities. While Singapore is rich in terms of GDP per capita, the median monthly salary is $3,270. That doesn't sound too bad, but about 20% of that goes into a mandatory savings account. You can use the account to pay for medical bills, housing, and education, but it does restrict the purchasing power of the population. You've probably heard of the movie Crazy Rich Asians, which was set here in Singapore. And it's no wonder, because Singapore has about 184,000 millionaires, making it truly the land of the crazy rich. That's great news. But Singapore also has a fairly high rate of inequality compared with other developed countries. Let's look at the Gini coefficient, which is a scale used to calculate inequality, with 0 being the most equal and 1 being the least. Singapore's Gini coefficient, after accounting for taxes and transfers, was 0.356 in 2017. That was worse than countries like the United Kingdom, Japan, Korea, and Germany, although it fared better than some, like the United States. Is that number really that bad? That question had books like this flying off the shelves. A think tank ignited public debate on the divide in social classes after it found that on average, Singaporeans who live in public housing have fewer than one friend who lives in private housing. The government has called the issue of inequality a national priority, but it remains to be seen if it is a problem that can be tackled effectively. Hi everyone, it's Sinan. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out more of our videos, click here and here. As always, feel free to leave any suggestions for future videos in our comments section. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.
That's really incredible, isn't it, Mateos? How can a country so small become so rich?
Just over 50 years ago, oil was discovered here in Dubai.
Yeah, now they're going to talk about Dubai. But as you could see there, it's really, hard for a small country to become that rich. But there were some factors. In the video, did you notice that they talked about the minimum wage? Yeah, more than $3,000. So different from Brazil, right, guys? That was really bad. I mean, bad for us. I feel sorry for our country because we don't have anything close to that, unfortunately. But on the other hand, they get that much money, but they need to pay 20%. Actually, not to pay, but they need to put, it's an obligation, 20% of their wage in a savings account. So saving money there is something mandatory. So that's why people there get richer easily, right? Because they keep saving the moment they start working. It's a mandatory thing, right? So people have the habit of really calculating and planning their budgets from the beginning. It's not like here in Brazil. Here in Brazil, you can do whatever you want with your salary. And then people usually spend it all, right? And another thing, we don't get so much money. Our what they say, the GDP, which is the gross domestic product, here is very low. Nothing compared to Singapore. Okay, so let's take a look at the page. If you have your books, please open your books to page 78. Let's see something more about Singapore, the city of the future. Can you visualize the book page there, Mateus? Yes? So, okay. All right, thank you. So here in the first activity, we have a question. What do you want from a city? Put these features in order for you. So one being the most important, all right? So let me zoom in so you can see better. We have here the items: beautiful architecture, lots of parks and green spaces, a good transportation system, career opportunities, good shopping, things of cultural interest, entertainment, and nightlife. So in your opinion, what is really important in a city? From the things we have here, right? Of course, we may find some other things important, but they are not here on this list. So what do you think? Number one, career. Okay. What about number two? Okay, no problem. I understood. I guess this one here, yes. Number two, a good transportation system. That's, yeah, that's really important. Number three, what do you think? We have
Deus,
here,
pô, é muito ruim digitar no telefone. Pera.
yes, I know. Lots of parks.
Entertainment. Acho que é isso. Entertainment and
Oh,
nightlife.
entertainment and nightlife. Okay, all right. Number four.
Things of cultural interest.
Okay, things of cultural interest. Try to say this again, Mateus. Cultural.
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 Good. Interest.
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 Yes. Cultural interest.
Cultural interest.
Good. Very good, Mateus. Next one. What do you think is important? Now, number five.
Lores are parks and green space.
Yes, that's really important, right? Good. Now, what would be number six in your opinion?
Beautiful architecture.
And finally, number seven.
Good shops.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, if we take our city, for example, what are the good things we have here in Rio? Do we have any of these things here?
Pera, a pergunta é qual?
Let's think of Rio, our city here in Brazil, Rio, where you live, okay? What are the good things about Rio? Can we find any of these things in Rio? For example, do we have beautiful architecture?
Tem algumas.
Yes, sort of. Lots of parks and green spaces.
Yes.
So, yeah. We do have some, yeah, but not.
Que é muito. Tem em alguns lugares só.
Yeah,
Não muito foco.
only some places. A good transportation system. No way. No way. Career opportunities.
No.
Good shopping.
Yes.
Yeah, so. Things of cultural interest.
Yes.
Entertainment and nightlife.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So we are missing a good transportation system and career opportunities. All right, guys. So let's look at the photos of Singapore and discuss what you see. So let's take a look at the pictures there. What can you see here in this picture, Mateus? What place do you think this is?
O que é isso? É tipo uma piscina?
Yeah, looks like a swimming pool, right? Yes, nowadays they are making swimming pools like these, right? They are making swimming pools without a visible edge, right? So yes, it's a kind of a club with the swimming pool, and the swimming pool is different. It's very modern. Okay. Have you ever seen swimming pools like that? What about this one here? What can you see in this picture?
Hum, é, esse aqui é o quê?
Here.
Lugar bonito, sei nem o que é mais bonito.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, it looks really, really nice. They look like trees, but they are not really trees, of course. Maybe it's a kind of park where people can walk around some of these towers, tree-like towers. Yeah, very interesting. And what about this picture here? What can you see there?
Ah, a city mesmo.
Yes, a regular city with tall buildings, skyscrapers. All right. Are there any other pictures on the other page? Let me see. Yes, there is another one here. What do you think this one is?
Ah, não sei o nome desse inglês, não sei, mas é aquelas fontezinhas, não é?
Yeah, actually, this is a big one. It's a water font. Yeah, it's a big water font. All right. So let's take a look at the other page back again. So what idea can you make of Singapore just by looking at these pictures? Do you think it's a nice place? Is a nice place to live in?
Yes.
Yeah, seems to be. So read the article quickly. What superlative adjectives can you find? So as we read the article, Mateus, we are going to try to find superlative adjectives they use to describe Singapore, okay?
Ok.
And then after we find them, try to see what they refer to, okay? So let's take a look here. Look, Singapore, city of the future. So let's take a look at this. We have to read the text quickly, as they said. So we just have to scan for the information they want. Superlative adjectives. So we take a look, like a quick look at the paragraph, and then try to find those superlative adjectives. So let's go quickly here and see. We are not supposed to read the text, but just find the superlative
E,
adjectives, okay?
uhum. E buzzers. Então,
Busiest, yes, very nice, excellent. So let's highlight that. You see, very good. The world's busiest, the world's busiest ports. Okay, good. Next one. Another one we found there. The world's smartest city. Mhm. The most innovative and sustainable metropolis on the planet.
O superlativo do inglês normalmente usa quando?
The superlative is when we want to put one element or one thing um, bigger or on top of all the others when we compare one thing with a big group. Okay.
Ah,
All right. So for example, here, look, we are comparing, sorry, Singapore to us to the world, all the cities in the world. So the world is a big group, isn't it? Very big. So the city of Singapore compared to the other cities in the world is the smartest.
entendi.
Okay. Here, the most innovative and sustainable metropolis on the planet. Wow, the planet is a big group, right? A lot of cities we have on the planet, so many places. How can I compare one place with all the other places on the planet? Oh my God. So this is a superlative situation, okay? It's when I compare one thing with a large group.
Aí o the most, que fica ali na frente, é porque a palavra seguinte é grande, não é isso?
Yes, exactly. Mhm. Yes. When I don't have a big adjective, I have a short adjective or a small adjective, then I just use EST. Okay,
Ok,
like here, the world's smartest city. Okay, here, the world's busiest ports. So here I'm using EST. Okay, because they are small adjectives. All right, let's keep going. Let's see if we find any other superlative adjectives. Okay, let's see. Not here. Let's try the next page. Oh, I think there is one here in paragraph 4. The world's most efficient transportation system. So I'm comparing the transportation system of Singapore to all the other transportation systems in the world. So, according to research, Singapore has one of the world's most efficient transportation systems. Okay, Mateus? Another one. Here we have, look, the world's most advanced, talking about the water management system. Mhm. Pretty much like Brazil, right? No way, completely different. Unfortunately, our water management system doesn't work very well. Okay. Oh, here we have another one. The world's tallest airport slide in the world. Wow. You see how nice? I don't think we have an airport slide here. I would love to see that. We can check it out later. Okay. So I got enthusiastic about it and I highlighted the other part, but the world's tallest airport slide, that's the superlative. Okay. Another one, the world's largest. Okay, guys, so all the examples they are giving here, they are the world's biggest, the world's best, the world's whatever. But we know the superlative is only this part here, okay? The world's largest fountain. Okay, Mateus, I'm just highlighting the word world because it's part of the superlative adjective to qualify the noun, all right? But it's easier to understand that I use the superlative when I compare a small thing or a unit with a bigger amount, a big group. Another one, the world's largest floating stage. Wow, here a lot. The biggest indoor garden in the world. More. The wealthiest tourists can swim in the world's highest swimming pool. You see, this swimming pool, the one you saw in the picture there, it's on top of a hotel, actually on top of a building. The name of the hotel is Marina Bay Sands. So the swimming pool is right there. Okay. That's nice, isn't it? All right. So let's zoom out so we can see. Oh, sorry. This is so nice. I love it when I do this, when I write on the page, but that's okay. Drawing is good sometimes. All right, people. So now we can see the superlative adjectives we found. Okay, here we have the examples. Okay. On the other page here, the same. Right. Now complete the chart. So for us not to waste a long time there because it's not really, I already left the answers here. Okay. So you can see, for example, the busiest, they are talking about the port. Okay. The port in Singapore. Look, one of the world's busiest ports. Okay. Smartest, which one are they, which thing are they referring to? The smartest city. Okay, so that's easy. Metropolis, the most sustainable. Okay, or the most innovative. So here we have two things actually. Most efficient, what are they talking about? Transportation system. Okay. Water management system. What is the superlative? The most advanced. It's on the other page. Okay. Here, what is considered the biggest? The gardens by the bay. And what about the airport slide? How can you describe the airport slide? Oh, it's the tallest in the world. Okay. the tallest airport slide in the world. What about the tourists that go to Singapore? The wealthiest, because everything there must be really expensive, okay? And what is the highest there? Okay, sorry, Mateus, sorry about it. So what is the highest there? The swimming pool. That's considered highest swimming pool in the world. Let me let me show you a picture of the hotel where they have this swimming pool. Okay, let me show you the picture. Just a second. So let's see here. For tourists who want to visit a city that is ultra modern yet green and beautiful, is easy to get around, and combines history, culture, and excitement, Singapore is the place. The Asian city-state has a population of just 5.5 million people in an area of only 277 square miles, approximately 718 square kilometers. Yet, it is a high-tech commercial center with one of the world's busiest ports. So it's a small place, right? It's a small city-state, and it has a lot of um, attractions. And you have green, you have beauty, you have easy transportation system, so it's easy to get around, and it combines history, culture, and excitement. So why do tourists like to visit Singapore?
É, because Singapore is modern place. Modern
Yes,
place, no.
very modern. Yes, that's right. That's correct, Mateus. It's ultra modern, okay? And yet it's green and beautiful. Okay, we have all these adjectives there. Let me just change the color here so we don't mix up with the superlative adjectives, okay? So yes, all these qualities, ultra modern, green, beautiful, easy to get around, and it combines history, culture, and excitement. Okay, Mateus. So all that would be the reason. So let's just highlight. It's difficult to choose one reason because it has so many good things, right? So history, culture, excitement, all that. Okay. So back to the page again. Um, that would be the answer to the first question. Now let's see the part two. Let's see part two, sorry. What is the weather like in Singapore? Is it hot? Is it cold? Does Singapore have many natural resources? Yes or no? Do they have oil? What about water? Do they have water? So I will just do the first part and the second. Okay, Mateus. The other parts I can give the answers to you and you just copy because I would like you to read this text at home, okay, with more time. So look at part two. Singapore doesn't have many natural resources, okay? Located just 1 degree north of the equator, Singapore has a tropical rainforest climate. So you see, it's pretty much like the north of Brazil. Okay, the climate is tropical and humid. Okay, so that's the climate of Singapore. It's very hot, like I said, and humid year round. Year-round, Mateus, means it's very hot and humid during all the year, okay? It has no energy deposits, no forests, and no farms. For years, the country has had to import drinking water from its neighbor, Malaysia. Singapore is not a natural country, says Chung Hang Chi, chair of the Lee Kuan New Center for Innovative Cities at the Singapore University of Technology and Design. For Singapore to survive, we have to be extraordinary, she says. If we were ordinary, we would just disappear. Amazing, isn't it? Imagine a country that has no forest, no farm, they don't have enough drinking water, they needed to import for many years. Nowadays, they have their own drinking water, but until recently, they didn't have. So they needed to import. Imagine, right? So that's what she says here, um, this woman. For Singapore to survive, we have to be extraordinary. Okay, so that country is really incredible. So what's the weather like in Singapore, Mateus? They have tropical rainforest weather-like conditions. They are hot and humid all year round. Okay. Does Singapore have many natural resources? No, they don't. Okay. So actually here, does Singapore have? No, it doesn't, would be the best answer. So unfortunately, they need to import a lot of things to survive. Nowadays, they're producing some things, but they don't have farms. They don't have forests. So it's difficult. Okay. So let me show you here. I'm going to show you the answers to the other questions, and then you can print screen. Okay. Because this is something interesting to know. And I highly recommend that you read the other part of the text. If you don't have the book, Mateus, I can send you a copy of the text via WhatsApp. Okay? So let me show you the answers. Look, here is the answer. I think, yes, the second part of the answers here. The first one we've already done, okay? Tourists come because of the many attractions, shopping and its gardens and all those things. Part two, it's very hot and humid all year. And no, it doesn't. Unfortunately, they don't have their own resources, natural resources. Then this is the answer to part three. So if you want, you can print screen. Oh yeah, that's really big. Sorry about that, Mateus. Okay. So a smart city is one that is innovative and sustainable. Number five, 10% of the city is parks and nature reserves. That's so good. 10%. Wow. Trees and plants are everywhere. That's cool. Part four, they use various technologies to prevent traffic jams. They limit the number of cars on the road. People use public transportation. It is very expensive to get a certificate to allow you to get a car. You see, this is how they control the traffic there. Part 5, it was managed by multiple agencies, which made it difficult to make a long-term plan. They're talking about the water management company here. Let's see the other part. This is the second part from part 5, okay? Question 9. The government created a national agency. So finally, now they have a national agency managing the water supply. Question 10. Visitors can ride the world's tallest slide to go to the shopping mall. How nice. See the world's largest fountain and floating stage. See the biggest indoor garden in the world and swim in the world's highest swimming pool. That's nice. A lot of superlatives there, right? So did you take a picture, Mateus? Yes? Okay, good, excellent. Okay, all right, Mateus. So we finished those 2 pages we were supposed to do today about Singapore. What did we learn today? We saw something about superlatives. We saw vocabulary, yes, to describe cities. We saw some nice information about Singapore. Okay, and I really want to visit one day if possible. All right. And basically, we used the vocabulary from the lesson, from the text, to review superlative adjectives. Okay, that's nice. But here, I really recommend that you read the text because it has some interesting vocabulary about describing a place, describing cities. So it's nice. So for today, we've covered those 2 pages here, 78 and 79. And the homework for this lesson today is the workbook, page 69. Okay, Mateus, so this is what we have to do. The pictures that you can see here are related to the second class we have this week, pages 80 and 81. And I posted the video here for you to watch again if you wish about Singapore. All right. So thank you very much for coming, Mateus. It was a pleasure having you here finally, right? Remember, English is very important. I know it's difficult and I know it's sometimes boring, but it's necessary, right? The world nowadays is a nutshell. We are very small now with the internet and everything we have, technology. We are very close to everybody. So we need to use the common language to communicate. We need to know English. It's the basic language. After that, you have to keep on studying other languages. And I think, in my opinion, Mandarin would be nice to learn. Okay? They speak Mandarin in Singapore too, besides English. They have more than, I think they have 4 languages there, but the most, I guess the ones they use the most are English and Mandarin. Okay? But not only for that reason, I would say that learning Mandarin today is a question of survival in the future. Okay, guys? So see you on Thursday. Thank you very much for coming and read the text, please. Okay? Thank you, Mateus. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye, honey. See you.